Hi everyone, welcome to another one of my YouTube videos. So in this video I'm going to be reviewing the Benetton Ford B194 manufactured by Revell. Alright, so this kit is I would say is probably one of the first Formula 1 kits manufactured by Revell. It's not the first, okay, but it's definitely one of the early ones, I would say. And this particular one is made in 1995. I don't know if you guys can see that. So it's made and printed in Germany. Alright, so it's quite an old kit, okay. And Revell actually re-released this kit, and they called it the 25th anniversary or 25th anniversary model, okay. They released it late last year, but it was really expensive, okay. Based on what I've seen, it goes for like USD 70. All right, $70, so it's really expensive. So I didn't get that. So this is actually the older kit. All right, but yeah, if you want to get the newer one, there is one available. All right, so let's just look around the box for a bit. Now it's nice to see that there's actually pictures of the actual car here. All right, and these are some really good close-up shots of the suspension and the engine, and also some of the bodywork. So it's nice to see that. You don't see that a lot with most model kits. So Revell actually rate this kit as number 3, okay, in terms of skill. So Revell has a skill rating system between 1 to 5, 1 being the easiest and 5th being the hardest kit. So this is number 3, which basically means that it has up to about 100 parts, and it's a more demanding kit. Alright, so let's see. You can see here there's some history of the car itself. Alright, yeah. So for those of you who actually follow Formula 1, this car represents the car that was raced by Michael Schumacher and also Jos Verstappen in 1994. All right, and it's actually one of a very significant Formula 1 car in the Formula 1 history. All right, this car actually took Michael Schumacher to the Drivers' Championship, and he won the Drivers' Championship in 1994 amid really controversial circumstances. Schumacher actually had a run-in with Damon Hill at the last race in Australia, and both of them ended up going out of the race. They didn't finish the race, and Schumacher actually ended up winning the championship by 1 point. So it's a very controversial event. So this car is actually quite a significant car. All right, and it's interesting to note that Schumacher actually won the Drivers' Championship, but the team didn't win the Constructors' Championship. Okay, the Constructors' Championship actually went to Williams. All right, so yeah, it's a really good Formula 1 car, and it's good to see that Revell actually produced this car in plastic, because if you wanted this car in plastic, there's really no other brand that you can go for. This is the only brand that you can get. All right. So let's look at the size of the box in comparison with some other Tamiya kits. So I have here a typical 90s Tamiya Formula 1 kit. Okay, this is a Williams FW13B Renault car. So I just put it here. You can see the Revell kit is actually a little bit longer. Okay, the box is a little bit longer. And if you compare here, you can see that it's actually slightly shorter. So shorter, and it's a little bit longer. Alright. Alright, so let's go ahead and open the box. Now I should mention that this is actually a second-hand kit that I bought from an auction site. Alright, so you will see some parts that are loose, and you can see some of the decals are missing there. Alright, so yeah, let's just go ahead. Okay, I'm just going to put this aside here. Okay, so you can see there's some loose parts here. Alright, see, this is the car itself. Okay, so first of all, let's look at the instructions. Now the instruction is mostly written in what I can assume to be Japanese. Alright, as you can see, it's quite faded, but the way the steps are put, it's very typical Tamiya style. And as you can see, the car actually has an engine, which is very, very interesting, because a lot of the Revell Formula 1 cars doesn't include engine details. So this car actually has an engine, which is really it's very nice to see. Of course, being a 124 scale car, the details are going to be quite small. Like myself, for example, I normally build 120 scale Tamiya models, so I find that scale is just nice, you know. But 124, to me, I feel like it's a little bit small, but nevertheless, it's there, you know, if you want to detail it and stuff like that. Alright, so the flow is very typical Tamiya flow. Alright, start off with the engine and then move on to the bodywork a little bit. And this kit has tires which can be moved or can be rotated left and right. Alright, and yeah. Oh yeah, the tire, right? I built several Formula 1 Revell kits prior to this, so I know that when you want to install the tire to the rim, the tire to the brake disc, right, you have to glue the tire on, you know. Like Tamiya, for example, it is attached usually by especially the 90s kits, it is attached usually by screws, you know, so the tires can actually rotate. But in the Revell kits, you can't do that. You just have to glue it so that the tires won't be able to be rotated after assembly. Alright, so these are the decal application. Okay, now this kit actually represents the late or the mid-season B194 car. Alright, how you can tell that is very simple. Okay, let's look at the box cover once again. First of all, the early season cars, right, the rims were black like this here. You see, this is the black rims. But the mid and late season cars, the rims were white like this. Alright, so that's the first indication. The next indication is that the rear wing, if you can see, it has a curved element at the rear wing. So the early season didn't have that. The early season had flat just like this. And finally, the third indicator is that the engine cover has the slots, you know, which again the early season model didn't have the slot. So this car basically represents the mid to late season Benetton B194 model. Alright, so you can see here, just give you an example what the car is going to look like. Yeah, see, you can see the slots here. Fitting has always been an issue for Revell Formula 1 cars, especially the 90s Formula 1 cars, so you have to struggle a little bit. I've built several, as mentioned earlier. You will have some issues with like the gluing points, you know. Sometimes you'll feel like there's not many areas where you can glue, you know, without risking glue smearing the paint and things like that. So you might have to maybe add some gluing points. Like what I usually do is I put like cut pieces of styrene sheets, you know. I just kind of put it around so that I can apply glue there, and then when I slot the engine covering, for example, there's a nice surface where the glue can interact with both surfaces, right? So as you can see, tires here. The tire actually has a Goodyear Eagle kind of molded on, alright, which is very interesting. So you can actually choose to paint them using a brush or anything like that. You may not need to apply the decals, okay, if you don't want to. Alright, And also, another interesting thing to see is that the entire kit is molded in green plastic, which is something very very odd. You don't see that a lot. All right. Normally, the suspension bits and all normally will be molded in black. Okay, but for this kit is actually molded. The entire kit is just molded green, which is something I don't see much. All right. So as mentioned here, you can see the rear wing element is curved. So this is one indication that it's a mid to late season car. All right. And you can see here, this is parts of the engine. It looks very interesting. Looks quite detailed. Okay. It looks very nice. Here you have the seat with the seat belt already molded in. All right. There's also a decal available. I'll show you in a while. All right. Okay, so let's look at the decal. So this is the decal sheet that came with the kit. As you can see, there's a lot of decals here. Oops, maybe I need to hold it like this. One thing that strikes me first is that a lot of the colors of the car, because the car has several different colors. You have okay, let's look at the kit again. See, you have the green, and then you have 3 different shades of blue. So that's 4 paints right there. 3 blues, and then the green. So that's 4 main paints. So some of the paints actually is already printed on the decals. So you may not need to you may not need to paint it. Okay, and then you have the white sections. But based on my experience, right, it's always better to paint rather than use this kind of large decals that kind of it kind of goes on curved surfaces and things like that. It might be very difficult to get the decals to sit properly. Even if you try microsol or microset, you still might have some problems. All right. And of course you have the issue of the decals aligning, because you have to apply separately and things like that. So if I were to build this model, I'll probably try my very best to paint everything. It's going to be difficult, but I think in the end the effort is worth it, because you'll get really, really good results. Now if you want to paint, the tricky part here is you can see in between each color there's like a line of color. You see, like for example, from this light blue to the dark blue, right, there's like a line of white. From this blue to the other surface, which I assume to be green, you can see there's like a white line. So these lines are very difficult to paint. You can try, but it's going to be difficult. So what I would do is I'll try to cut these lines off the decal and then apply it on the model. All right. Otherwise, if you want to paint these thin lines, it's going to be very, very difficult. Okay. So looking at the decals, as you can see, the seat belt is provided, so that's nice. And as mentioned earlier, this is an old kit. All right. So yeah, this decal sheet is around 25 years old, so I don't expect it to work very, very well. Yeah, so if I were to build this kit, I'll probably either try to reprint this decal or maybe get one aftermarket decal. For example, like Shunku has an aftermarket B194 decal available for this model. Of course, it's kind of sold out everywhere, so it's a bit difficult to get. So as you can see, BBS for the rims, and of course this car was sponsored by Mile 7 Tobacco, but you don't see the Mile 7 here, of course, but you can get that aftermarket decals if you really want. One interesting thing about the decals also is that it comes with Bitburger sponsorship and it comes with Benetton Sport System. So if you look at the box cover on the side right of the car, you have Bitburger and you also have Benetton Sport System, right? So depending on which race the car was at during the 1994 season. They either use this one or that one, but in the instructions, right, the Bitburger one is only called for Michael Schumacher's car, and Jos Verstappen's car they asked to use this one. Alright, but I've seen pictures where Schumacher's car also use this one. So basically you can use either one basically if you're building the Michael Schumacher version. Alright. And yeah, I think that's about it. So yeah, I think we've come to the end of this review. Hope you enjoyed it and hope it was informative. So in conclusion, this is actually a very interesting and it's a very significant Formula One car. So if you can get a chance to buy it, I would suggest you do. If you can get a good price for the newer 25th anniversary Revell model, that's probably a better option. But if you can't, then maybe you can get one of these older ones and try to reprint this decal, or try to get the Shunku decal set, and then you can start to build this car. So I'll probably build this car pretty soon once I sort out the decal situation. So I hope you guys can subscribe to my channel, and pretty soon I'm gonna upload the video of the build of this car, so then you will be able to see all the steps and all the different things that I go through in building this car. Alright, so please subscribe to my channel. Thank you.